Let's move now to another very important story, and that is the forensic report into the death of Enock Mpianzi. Of course, the grade 8 Parktown Boys learner drowned while on a school camp on January the 15th this year. The report was released by a team of forensic investigators and law firm. Very damning reading, and I'm joined now by, of course, the Gauteng MEC for Education, Mpianzi. Thank you very much for coming in. Reading this report and listening to Peter Harris talk about what went wrong, it is a very damning list. You know, everything from the roll call being left on the bus to the teachers who are meant to be watching over every single activity, wandering down to the riverside once it had started, no wearing of life jackets. I'm sure you must have been utterly dismayed and quite heartbroken to read what went wrong. What struck me, and I'm wondering if you feel this way as well, is it's remarkable that more boys didn't drown that day.
Indeed, you're correct, Sally. You know, it's just a miracle that only one child passed on without being insensitive to the family. But when we went through the report, we had to convince ourselves that why this? Why this? Why would a school take a trip that is not authorized? Why will educators abandon learners there? Why will children be taken to a river that was flowing so heavy? Why will you allow children just to develop something out of their shoelaces? And when we read the part where a learner that says he was the one that was holding on Enock, but because he felt that he was about to drown as well, so he let Enock off purely because he thought he was drowning as well. So when you go through that report, and when we presented that report to the family, I just felt that we reopened the wound rather than assisted them to close that wound. But we remained resolute that we're going to act. We are quite convinced that we've got enough evidence now, and we just have to move with speed to implement the recommendations of the report.
I mean, really, the finger of blame has been pointed at many people. I think the harshest for me was what Peter Harris said about the camp itself. Yeah. He spoke of a disgraceful falsity on the part of the camp for their version of what happened on that day, changing the route that the boys went on, saying that wasn't the route they were on, then lying about the level of the river. Now, as he points out, a metre higher than you say, these are little boys still. They're not going to be able to touch the bottom of that river. So he found the camp reckless in the extreme. Do you think that there's grounds for a criminal case there?
Definitely. I really believe there is. That is why we're handing over the report to the police as well, so that it can be part of the investigation. But remember as well, there were 4 similar cases before, and therefore we really believe that the police didn't have this intense and thoroughly researched report to prosecute on the previous 4. So with the report that we have provided now, we strongly believe that they can reopen those 4 cases as well, so that it must not be about Enock, but it must be about all those children that passed on at that particular camp. And that is why we're making this report available to the law enforcement agencies.
What's going to happen to those teachers who, and the report blames them for not stopping the exercise as soon as they realised that the boys were not wearing life jackets? In fact, it seems from that report that the educators didn't think there was a problem in the water, which is astonishing, because when the headmaster arrived at the camp, he was like, this is a shocking situation, and he stopped it immediately. What's going to happen to those educators?
Unfortunately, they're employed by the SGB, so we're meeting with the SGB. We said to the SGB, we'll assist you. We'll formulate the charges. We'll give you all the relevant documents and information that you need. We'll give you the relevant evidence. Please act. So we're meeting with them this week, and hopefully they will be in a position to take appropriate action.
The SGB and also the Department of Education in Gauteng has to also answer for the lack of paperwork around this camp. It was never signed off. The SGB should have followed up, but equally the department had a job to do. And the fact that this camp wasn't properly vetted could also be an issue of how do we not carefully check into these things. There are lots of tough questions for your department to face too.
Indeed, and I'm not going to defend it. I said to the district officials that are implicated, this is pure amateurish, just unprofessional. Why should we keep you at employment when you can behave like this? Yes, the school made an application late. but pick up the phone and tell the school that the application is late and therefore is not authorized. You take the application, you just throw it on the table and ignore it. So indeed, we are not immune from any form of blame or liability, and that's the reason why we've already served all the officials that are implicated in this report that are at the district with relevant documents so that they can appear before our disciplinary hearing.
I want to talk to you about the way the school has responded, the way the SGB has responded. Now, yesterday, I saw you managing a very difficult situation where clearly the parents did not want the media there, which I think to a certain extent you can understand it. But equally, this is a school that's been blamed for a culture of silence, for covering up things like sexual abuse. I have to ask if you think that that was justified, or whether you think it's endemic of a deeper problem that still remains at this school.
I believe in openness, and you know, for the better part of my life, I've been liaising with the media, so I've developed a relationship with the media, so I have nothing to fear from the media. I think you're correct, Sari, that some aspect might be justified. For example, you know, there was a Sunday newspaper that ran a front page article claiming that the family of Enock didn't afford to buy, which now the report indicates no one was asked to bring their life jacket. So on that basis, you can say they're justified. But the reality is that if we can't be transparent as a society, accountability will go out of the way we deal with it. So I really believe in transparency. I really believe in openness, and I think that the media should have been allowed to be in that particular meeting. But I've apologized to the media because we are a public institution, so we have to invite the media in whatever that we do. So you can't blame us for inviting the media. But I understand the pain, the trauma, the difficulties that the media had to endure during that session when the parents felt that they are not needed. And that is why we felt that we should have a special session with the media and release the report fully to them.
Yeah. But the deeper question of whether you think this is endemic of an ongoing problem at the school, a culture of silence, trying to cover things up, protect the image of the school, is that still a problem?
I went through both reports. And I've interacted with previous SGB and the current SGB, and I've interacted with the previous principal and the current principal, and I really believe that they are tried to be open. I addressed learners as well, and I said to the learners, if you see something that you don't like, speak out. Don't say that I'm not allowed to speak. And also to the parents, I indicated that to them. But people respond to instruction differently. Others will respond immediately and others will respond at the later stage. But since we've released that report, I've not seen something that justifies that people still continue with that culture of silence. Well,
it's important. It has to change, particularly in boys' school. And certainly what we've seen with boys speaking out around alleged abuse at Drakensberg Boys School. That perhaps the message is getting to boys that they can speak up.
And they must.
And they can talk about these things. Before I let you go, I have to ask you about what's going on in Tshwane this morning. Your colleague has placed, Gauteng Education has placed the city under administration. You're the ANC deputy chair in Gauteng. Just your assessment, is this the right way to go? Is this the only way to solve the problems, or is it just going to create more?
But in the absence of service, what do you do?
Well, I understand the city is still clean and people are still laying pipes.
Not necessarily. I mean, if you check the lack of water in some parts of that area, but besides, the council has not met for the last 4 years, and there are reports that need to be adopted there. The budget has not been adopted, which simply means that workers might not be paid, and if workers are not paid, they're not going to report for duty. If they don't report for duty, there's no service. So I really believe that the provincial government has taken a reasonable step just to ensure that services are rendered while political bickering can be sorted out outside. But I really feel that it's a correct decision, and we should encourage that municipality to fund itself.
Why are the politicians and the political people in that municipality at such loggerheads, and isn't it failing the people?
Remember, we are an opposition party, so you can't blame us. We have surrendered power. We didn't dispute power. And the people that are governing that municipality mismanage that municipality badly. I mean, you check the report of the Auditor General about the Athlete Africa account. You check the appointment of people that are not qualified. You check the inexperience of the political party that is in charge. That you have 4 mayors in one political term in one municipality. And also the myth that the DA has been selling, that where they govern better, that municipality has been destroyed completely, and therefore we are just an opposition party, and we played our role as an opposition party.
Still a functioning city, and let's face it, there are a lot of ANC municipalities that by that measure should have been placed under administration a long time ago.
I take your point. Where we govern, we do that. I mean, there is Mamosa, where the ANC was governing. What did you do to put that municipality under administration? You go here in Gauteng, in Sidibeng, there is a municipality that the ANC have put under administration. It's an ANC-led municipality, so it's not a witch hunt. We really believe where there's no service, we must intervene regardless of who is in charge. We've got municipalities in the province that the ANC is in charge, that we've put under administration. Tshwane is not immune. As I said, west of the ANC is not in charge. They were an opposition party. So it's quite clear that those that were really were governing that municipality lacked the necessary experience, and that is why this municipality is now under administration.
Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate you being prepared to chat about that at short notice, and thank you for your insights around the report into Enock Mpianzi, and I just hope it means this will never happen again and our school children will be more safe in future.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.